You trying to like Martin Luther King was like, I might not get there with you to the mountaintop kind of joint. It's like that's like you only here for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
You might not get to that mountaintop of the whatever this thing that we're thinking is going to be this utopia. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, let me fuck some bitches while I'm here. Shout out to my dude MLK.
You out of control for that one. I ain't gonna lie.
Captain of Bean. Let's keep it a bean. My man was trying to live life as well.
Let's allow MLK to live in his legacy in a decent
this
way.
is not breaking news. I'm not breaking news here.
It's not, but let's let him rock out.
Darwin,
What are you doing here? It's challenge day.
welcome back, challengers. This is season 1, episode 8 of Challenge Day. I'm your man's Darwin, aka Darwin Darko.
And I'm Jeff. That's Jeff, not Jeffrey. So another day of Challenge Day. Let's get into some throwbacks that you may have. What you got? What you got on this rundown?
I do want to follow up on something.
Okay.
So, man, we were talking about this train derailment joint, and there's this freaking term.
Didn't they have like another train? Didn't they have like I'll let you get into it. I'll let you,
bruh,
because I definitely heard they had another crash.
There's been I mean, but that's the thing. It's like we're hearing about this now. It's almost like the Chinese balloon thing, where it's like, yo, these balloons have been happening for a while. Nobody, you know what I mean? It's happened. Some of them are, legit, some of them not, some have been shot down. Some of them not been shot down, and nobody had a word to say. It's like it wasn't really a big deal. So, and so just like that, train derailments, there's over 1,000. I think there's like over 1,200 train derailments, like that's on average per year.
That's a problem. That's a real problem.
Year. And like we hear this, I mean, this one is egregious because the chemicals that spilled and everything. Because those other ones, there's just like, oh, there's no injuries, you know what I mean? There's no toxic chemicals, whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah, maybe somebody died, but it'll make the local news, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be national. So this one, bro, you can see that cloud from Mississippi.
And they try to sweep it under the rug and everything, and like it's like the way they try to dispose of the chemicals is getting into the water, and this one is a little bit more egregious.
So you couldn't help but, like pay attention to that big ass cloud in the sky that's coming this away. You know what I mean? So they
look like a rain cloud, bro.
No, because that bit was just concentrated. That bit was dark. You know what I mean? I saw a ghost in that bitch. So I was like, something right about that cloud. You know what I'm saying? Who you gonna call, right? So there's a bunch of train derailments that happen all the time. And so we don't hear about them, but like something happens like this that draws your attention to this sort of thing. And turns out the past couple of months, this damn it, I keep forgetting their goddamn name. Was it Northrop? Not Northrop. I can't want to say Northrop Grumman. Don't know what it was.
Northrop Grumman makes trains.
No, yeah, no. It's is it Northern something?
Oh, the railroad.
The railway,
company.
yeah. What that bit called? That bit is dang, I don't know the name of it. All right, let me just look it up.
Find it real quick.
And I'll try to. Oh fuck, I'm gonna have to edit this.
Is it Norfolk Southern train?
Is it Norfolk Southern? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing that's what New York Times. The second
Norfolk
Southern train.
Yep. That's it.
Norfolk Southern train. Right. Yep.
So another, Norfolk Southern crash might have come in the headlines, and it's like, turns out you look back at the past several months, and they've had like 5 crashes, I think in Ohio alone.
What is going on in Ohio?
In Ohio alone.
That's
right, and that's just the 5. So like, there's attention drawn to it now because of that going down, and but here I say, that was a long ass preamble. Just to get to what the thing I was trying to get to was the term that I forgot. Well, I was trying to remember it last time. And so the term is precision scheduled railroading.
Yeah, this
right?
is an interesting concept from what I've read about.
All right. So simply put, PSR. So here's what happened: the cars at the origin, loaded first, can be built and shipped out with no wait time, as opposed to waiting until an entire unit train is loaded, which could take days. The same goes for destination and the unloaded cars. So at the destination, they'll be waiting more days, or the unloaded cars will be waiting to get the train. So this is the synopsis of how I was explaining that, the difference between cars and then trains, right? So you have a train that could hold 10, 100 cars, and that train could be sitting there waiting to fill up. Versus with PSR, you have, and I haven't seen the full explanation, but I think what they have is smaller trains. They just have small trains, and so like they're like constantly going. So what that means is like, the train conductors have to constantly be going, and then they get off the shift. The next guy comes on shift, he's got to get on and like ready. Boom. Yeah, it's like a baton, like running that 4x4.
Yeah, it's a relay.
It's a relay like that. And so what happened is that these because of this system, because they need, so because of the system and because of the fact that corporations, the first thing they do when they try to increase their what they call maybe profits or their quarterly earnings is fire employees. So you fire employees, but you're also expected to increase productivity.
Yes.
So what does that mean? That means the employees that you have left have to work their fingers to the goddamn bone to increase productivity so that you can show an increase in earnings next quarter.
And this is also where automation comes into play, but we'll obviously get into that later on.
We'll get into that a little bit later on, but yes, definitely. Yeah. Because robots don't need life insurance.
Yes.
Right? You might need a warranty, right? It's like your car. You might need a warranty, manufacturer's warranty, but you don't need the goddamn life insurance on robots. So because of that, the workers went on strike because they were like, yo, we need to at least be able to take PTO for sick leave. For sick leave. This is different. This is not even talking about vacation. This ain't talking about freaking tuition reimbursement. We're just specifically talking about sick leave. They're like, can we get some sick leave? Can we get 3 days? 3 days guaranteed sick leave. And so they couldn't get that. And so just to go, a lot of them would go to work sick as fuck. Because they couldn't like have a system that they could just call out sick and get paid for that time. Even and then even if they did that because they were too sick to get up and they call, let's say there's no call, no show kind of thing, they can get fired and lose their job for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they don't have because the union hasn't negotiated that yet because they need sick leave.
Yeah, because
that's not part of the contract that they have, and so these corporations got them running, working to the bone. Yeah, they can't even get sick leave. They're not upgrading the equipment.
That's a whole nother conversation as well. Having older equipment is,
and you're asking for more productivity.
And for more trains to be running more frequently, all the time on railways,
and you're not upgrading the tracks.
Yeah, that's a disaster waiting to happen. To be honest, it's not even smart at all.
This is like an obvious and bro, it's something like I forgot the number. What it is? It's north of 50% of commerce, of industry, of retail. Goes through the train system.
Yeah, they carry a lot of commodities for sure.
They carry a lot of weight.
Yep.
And tied to that is the damn cargo ships waiting out in harbor
Yeah, at the
to
bay.
wait
Yeah,
their turn to get in
yeah.
to load up their stuff so they could go.
It's a good point.
Because
yeah.
they get paid off of
Mhm.
how many loads they do.
Yep.
So, bro, I got to get this in.
And they are the main source of import and export.
Import and export.
That's a whole nother chain there. So yeah, you're right.
And it all ends up funneling through the individual worker that just needs a goddamn day off because I'm fucking sick.
Mm.
And you can't give us that. You can't give me 3 days of being a human being?
It's capitalism, baby. Capitalism at its finest.
Let's go. Yo, capitalism will fuck you up and not even remember you were a thing.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yo, that's a brutal fucking god.
Mm-hmm.
That
It hurts, but
god,
that's the
that
reality.
capitalism god, like when you watch that show, American Gods,
Yo, that show,
whew,
man,
boy,
changing your perspective on some things for sure.
boy.
That's
Like
what
capitalism is like. Capitalism is a
underrated show.
fucking final boss. Yo,
Yeah.
they even in communist China, they're like, "Yeah, we can sprinkle a little capitalism on top, right? It's all right.
Yeah. It's working out for America a little bit. Let's kind of work it out a little bit.
You know what I mean? We kind of use a little bit of this.
Yeah.
You know, hello Alibaba, hello
Yeah.
freaking TikTok. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like you know, that's the final boss right there, bruh. This
Mhm.
capitalism will fucking exploit all the workers. Will exploit anybody who's like, if you ain't buying into the system, because even as a worker,
And that's the thing. Yeah.
because even as a worker, we have workers that like
Yeah.
buy into it hard. They're like, yo, and they end up becoming the success story that like the 1 out of a trillion people that made it from the started from the bottom out of here. We're talking about like servers who go on to become bartenders, who then go on to be like front side managers, who then go on to be a proprietor, who then finally go on to get their own district and then have their own chain and franchise in a restaurant.
But all
But
that
that
takes like
dude-
30 years.
Bro, that dude bought in when he was a busboy, though.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
but that dude is the exception, not the rule.
He
And
is.
capitalism knows this,
Mhm.
but they feed the masses something different. They feed the masses, hey, anybody can make it. Look at
Yeah.
this guy. Anybody, any
They
one of y'all,
They
knowing
promote the
that.
exception. You're right about that. They promote the exception,
They
knowing
promote
that
the exception.
realistically,
Yep.
that's all it's ever going to be is only an exception.
A bunch
Like, most
y'all,
people
a bunch
really
y'all.
think that.
Yo, I saw.
Yeah.
I was listening to. And I'm gonna butcher this. I was listening to something about a study that was recently done, and it was by some. I don't know who it was by,
Mm.
but let's just say it was by big corporation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
with
corporation
that.
TM,
Mhm.
right?
We can
So
go
it
with
was
that,
by
yeah.
them, right?
Mhm.
What were they studying? They were studying the birth rate during COVID. Not the birth rate post COVID
Mhm.
versus pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID. Okay.
And I'm like, I you could have just called me up, you know what I'm saying? Give you a couple $100, you know what I mean? Just, you know what I mean? Buy me lunch or something. I could have just told you,
Yep.
okay, during COVID, niggas was locked in the house. You know what I'm talking about? You can't social, you can't be social, can't go out to bars, all the restaurants is closed.
Mm-hmm.
You with who you with, or you might be with a close knit group of friends and associates or whatnot, and like everything is closed, the movie theaters is closed. Y'all ain't got
Yep.
nothing to do but Netflix and chill.
That's it. Yep.
So I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of pregnancies,
It's gonna be a lot.
and
gonna be
you
a
know
lot
what
of-
I mean. And
so
you know
much
what I
so
mean?
that these babies who were born like during COVID, they call them COVID babies. Like these are COVID babies.
They got a nickname now, bro.
Yeah,
You
they
really
literally
had
got a
to
whole
go
moniker,
commission
yeah.
a whole study to find out that there's gonna be more babies.
Yeah.
That happened as a result of COVID than it was before.
As a result of close proximity, being with the same person all day, every day, inside, indoors. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh man, like if I go outside, I might die. That's how they'll picture. If I go outside, I might die.
That's
Dog,
really how people were thinking about it for sure.
And I don't really fuck with this nigga no more, man. But he already inside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He already knows.
So
Yeah.
it's like, propinquity. You're around somebody long enough, for a period of time, you gain a little bit more affinity towards them, and like next thing you know, y'all fucking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, there's gonna be more babies that have, but here's the rub. Why they were commissioning this study. Because remember, this is big corp we're talking about.
Yes.
They are projecting future workers. And they were like, the market is looking up for us as big corp, because we were already on a trend of losing workers because people were having less babies year by year, year after year, to replace the worker population that we need.
I see where you're going.
As in big corp. But this was a good year for big corp.
It worked out.
COVID was a good year for big corp.
Because more humans were being brought into the
More
world.
humans were being brought into existence that can now work our fucking back-breaking fucking bullshit.
Yep.
To make us more profits. That was their agenda. That's all and they were presenting this shit like it was great news. Like it was great news. And they didn't even hide. They're like, yeah, because that means we're gonna have more workers in the future. Like, you just gave me the game.
You basically just told me what type of time you got.
You said it out loud. You like the thing that you're supposed to say in your head, you just said it out loud.
Yeah.
Bruh. Just get yours.
That's the name of the game.
Get yours.
That's the name.
Because
this is what I tell people about that too when I have conversations about like topics like this. I'm like, yo, the only way you can level the playing field is if you get your piece of the pie, bro.
Son.
Like I'm just gonna keep it a whole
bean.
A whole bean. Like, you gotta get yours. You gotta get yours. You gotta get mine. Is that how that song goes? You gotta get yours. Yeah, bro. Like
I gotta get mine, bro.
The
system is so big, and it's a very cynical approach. I get it. Yeah, it's a very cynical ass approach, and it's a bleak ass approach. But you trying to like Martin Luther King was like, I might not get there with you to the mountaintop kind of joint. It's like, that's like, you only here for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
You might not get to that mountaintop of the whatever this thing that we're thinking is going to be this utopia. You know what I mean? So it's like, let me fuck some bitches while I'm here. Shout out to my dude, MLK.
You out of control for that one. I ain't gonna lie.
Captain of Bean. Let's keep it a bean. My man was trying to live life as well.
Let's allow MLK to live in his legacy.
This is not breaking news. I'm not breaking news here.
It's not. But let's let him rock out. I'm gonna let him.
That's staying in. That's staying in. That was staying.
It's fair. I get it. I understand it. It is a reality. Yeah, we know that MLK, was doing his thing, but
bro, you gotta get yours. Like, I understand, like, it's incremental.
Making, I get it.
It's incremental. You know what I mean? We gotta we gotta hope that we can make the world, we can leave the world a better place than what we found it. Yeah. And at the same time, it's like, these plastic straws ain't it. I'm sorry. I can't do the plastic straw thing. I want to leave the world a better place, but these plastic straws, until we find something, I'm sorry. I gotta live. Can I live a little bit?
I need these marble floors, bro. I need it.
It's so fun. I get it.
I need 200 on the dash.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but this one only went 150. but it's like I'm
Yo,
trying
crazy.
to do good. You know, I'm just a man whose intentions are good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not, you know, and
Yeah.
I try to do, but like,
That's funny.
can I still live? Can I live? Like Jay said, can I live? Like
Yeah.
I want to.
Yes.
That's and that's a delicate balance.
Mm.
It's a balance, and
Yeah, very much so. Very much
it's
so. Yeah.
it's unfair to not admit that. To be so fucking woke or to be so fucking pure, um, that like you live in that life too. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
live in a city, perhaps, that actually don't recycle. You want to recycle,
Mm-hmm.
you would like to recycle, but you would have to drive 30 minutes to the neighboring county. But no, so you just put your shit in the trash.
Yeah.
You do it. You know you do. What you could do, you could move to the other county. But you're like, oh, my rent is gonna be higher.
Yeah.
Or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like
Yeah. Mhm.
there's like, I mean, bro, I'm just saying like this. The purity test needs to be like we gotta get off that. We gotta get off the purity test. But the like, yo, bro, I'm trying test. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, oh, I see you trying. You know what I mean? Shout outs to
Mhm.
you.
Shouldn't there be like, because I think that's interesting perspective, right? Looking at it from like, because for example, how we could compare this to like how Christians live, right? Are the things that we try to do is to live a life of holiness, right? And we always explain it in a way where it's like, you know, it's an everyday thing because we're evolving, we're getting better, we're growing our understanding, and we further discipline ourselves as we grow and we learn and mature, right? But the ultimate goal is to attain holiness, which honestly is only to reach that level of complete holiness would be reaching heaven, right? Which is what our belief teaches, right? So it's but as a general, so that's kind of how I would compare it to like folks who are Christians. Like that's our
So yeah, but no,
our
I mean,
rabbit, right?
but
So
yeah,
but
that's
as a
that's a
but I was this is what I was gonna say though. But I was gonna say this is how it kind of coincides. It's kind of like just the average person, right? That you don't have to obviously believe in that, but just as the average person is like just trying to be not only trying to be a good person, but trying to be a better person every day, right? Being a better version of
yeah.
yourself. I think the thing that I think the thing that people really underestimate just when it comes to like living life is that like living frivolously is not something that you should be okay with. Like I don't think you should be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? But I think a lot of people are just okay with just I'm just gonna live and I'm just out here. I'm just out here. I'm like, really,
you ain't
bro?
never
Like
lie. You ain't
you have
never
no
lie.
vision, no nothing, bro. Like that's
But
kind of
like,
crazy.
okay, so like, so here's where I end up coming to a conundrum myself, because I get that, and but I also get like I'm like, dang, but the system, and we just talked about the system, right?
Yeah.
And like, boy, this system, like it really,
There's
it's
some
a
systemic
lot
things that are
to try. It's a lot of weight that can come down, and that's already been there, and that's been churning and churning and churning before you even existed.
Hundreds of years before you even existed. Yeah.
Bro, capitalism is the final boss, right? And so to the point where like you in a spot where it's like, bro, I gotta get this lit.
For
like
real.
this is it. Like the system is like,
Yo,
trust me. He's like,
I ain't gonna
they're
lie,
like,
you
bro,
ain't never
trust
lie.
me. Trust me. What I tried that idea that well, okay,
Yo,
fine.
that's
I'll hear you out. I'll hear you
crazy.
out.
Yeah.
That? Yeah. Nigga, I tried that 5 years ago. What the fuck? You apply for a job? What the fuck? Or some bullshit that's like,
Yo,
like someone they say like,
man.
so a nigga gets to a point where it's like, yo, I gotta get this lick. And so it's like, I get that. The system weighs down on you. There's like options are very minimal, you know, but I at the end of the day, each decision, because I do not believe in destiny. You know, unlike you know, yourself, and that's cool. But for my position is that we're faced with these decisions day in and day out.
Yeah.
And some decisions may be mundane, you know what I mean? Wear the blue jeans or wear the shorts or wear the hoodie or wear the jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Catch this train or take a Uber. You know what I mean? But there's some things sometimes that however that your universe is unfolding, that you make a decision, some of these decisions end up having big ripple effects, right?
Yeah.
Having big
Yes.
branches that
Yeah.
like turn you left or turn you completely right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Me leaving Florida, moving up to the DC area. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Or you choosing to go University of Florida.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Versus another school, for
Mm-hmm.
example. Maybe you could have went somewhere out of state. Bro, if you would have went to school in Oklahoma or some shit,
Yeah.
like your whole
Right.
fucking future, like all of that, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So there's
my
some
whole,
like
bruh.
the
I
butterfly
probably
effect.
would have been a different person
a
entirely.
whole different human being.
A whole different. Yeah,
You probably would have been like another foot taller too, you know. Who knows?
Probably.
Sorry to tell you, bro. Sorry, that could have been you. But yeah,
It is what it is, man. Sometimes you gotta,
you know what I mean?
you gotta roll with the punches.
You gotta go with the brain instead of the height. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Hey, well,
Yeah, unfortunately.
it's a give and take.
Yeah.
Right? And the good looks, of course. You know what I'm talking about? And the good looks. Hey, what I got right? So
Yeah.
it's like at the end of the day, yeah, the universe is weighing down on you. Yeah, capitalism is weighing down on you, but now you're faced with like day-to-day decisions each time. And there's a couple of decision points in there that could have gotten you further and further away from that situation. You know what I mean? If you went this way instead of that way, you made this move instead of that move. You know what I mean?
I think about that a lot. I'm not
Where
gonna
you
lie.
could
I
have
think
changed
about
your
that so much.
situation. So it's like I
Yeah.
don't want to give full excuses to be like, yo, blame it on the system.
Mm.
And niggas don't have no responsibility for whatever the fuck happens. It's the system's fault.
Yep.
Like, I mean, there's a decision point at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You may not get it right, the first 20 times. You know what I mean? But there's like a lot of decision points that are key decision points that you could choose, and you went left, and then you went left again on the other one, and then that one you went left as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, like you ended up just becoming a fucking rat race in the prison industrial system or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Or
think,
living for minimum wage for 20 years. Like for 20 years?
Yeah. And not have anything to retire on, and
like,
when you start going back to work.
So it's like, bro, is this nigga trying? That's why I'd be like, is this nigga trying?
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, and so like, can I be like, hey, I'm trying? I'd be like, nah, nigga, you ain't trying.
Nah, you ain't
I don't
really
think
trying.
you trying.
Yeah, you.
It's like,
yeah, you just rolling out of bed for real. You're not like jumping out of
Really?
bed in a full sprint like so
like
many
you
other people. You know what I'm
expected
saying?
some
Like,
miracle shit,
Yeah,
some biblical
yeah.
shit to just happen, like win the
yeah, it's
lottery or
like,
some
no,
shit.
bro, you gotta work. Like, yeah, like it's so crazy saying all this because it's like the older I get, man, I've started to realize, especially like when I hit my 30s, I was realizing like, yo, like I gotta all these things that I desire out of my life, like I gotta put into work. Like I really gotta.
You gotta try.
I have to actually try. Number one, and I have to not only that, but I have to actually go and put forth effort into even finding out the right information to apply.
That's trying to try.
And that's trying. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
that's just trying
bro,
to try to
like,
try.
You
gotta try for that. Matter of fact, there's a tryout for that probably.
Right. Exactly. You'll get through the door of trying to get to that door of like getting the right knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So now after you tried and got through the door of trying,
But that's
to
the thing
try,
too, is
now
after
it's
every
like,
door, you are faced with the other decision to
With
try or
a-
not try.
several other doors. Yeah, like it's
To try or
yeah.
not try. You could just
Yeah.
like still sit on your laurels. I've
Yep.
gotten to this level, and I'm doing good enough.
Mhm.
And you could be like, I'm not gonna try anymore. I'm done trying. I'm good here. And maybe that's a sustainable life for you, and that's great if you can like feel like you're satisfied at that. But if you can use the word struggle in any way in the description of your life, then like there's still another level to try. If you still
Yeah.
like and let me say exclusively, I'm talking about in terms of an economic status.
Yes, of course.
Because some struggles, they're you can try and not try, and it's like you can still have that, and like have it for a long period of time. But specifically when we're talking about in the financial realm, like if you still be like, oh, I'm living to check, no, No,
that's bro, that's not sustainable for a lifetime.
that's not sustainable for a lifetime.
It's not. It's not.
No, you gotta be trying
Mhm.
to get out of that shit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you got hey, at least you got a check.
Mhm.
And at least you're able to live a life check to check.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not thriving. That's not what you
Yeah.
want to be.
Absolutely not.
If you're busy doing that, that's less time you have for your mental health.
Yeah.
That's less time you have for the gym for your physical health.
Yeah.
That's less time you have reading books and consuming art for your intellectual health, or like all of this stuff, just like that adds up to you in terms of being like whole.
Mm-hmm.
If you get less time that you get to go to therapy.
Yeah. I mean, you're essentially buying your time back.
Yeah.
That's
So
that's what you're
so
doing. Yeah.
that I think that's what I'm saying is the delineation. You know what I mean? And to back to your point about how you were tying it to like with your faith,
Yeah.
because there's this goal of going to heaven and everything. But yeah, that's it. It's like even if Martin Luther King didn't get there during his lifetime though, like, or even if you and of yourself don't get there through your lifetime, if that's your goal though, you're gonna be progressing nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's your goal. So it's sort of the thing where they say like
essentially the same thing.
Yeah. So it's like, reaching for the stars and maybe you'll fall amongst the clouds.
Yeah.
But guess what? I got to the clouds though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was the end of my story, but I got to the clouds though. So like that nigga was trying. He ain't make it to the stars, but that nigga was trying.
That's one thing you can't take away from a person who's obviously a person who's progressing their lives and they have the track record to show that they've been progressing. Like, yeah, you can't say nothing about that guy. It's like, yo, that guy, he did everything he could and he progressed, so we can't knock him. He's not a liability. He wasn't a liability as a human on this
it's like you left
the
world a little bit better than you found it.
Exactly. Sometimes the system can be so overbearing that people are just discouraged to even try at all. Not giving them an excuse. I'm not giving them an excuse at all. But like,
no,
it just tells you
that's valid.
No,
that's valid. But
but this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Because if we go down this rabbit hole, this could be another 20 minutes.
Well, that's putting those full plates on your back.
Yeah, right.
Boy, I get it. You looking at it. You don't even want to walk up to that thing.
Like you gotta smell the salt on that joint and put your hands in the.
Okay.
You gotta get.
Okay, I'm here.
You gotta get your mind right for like.
I get
it. It can be so overbearing that it literally causes people to like lose the not what's the word? How I'm trying to phrase this. It actually causes people to not even want to fight at all. Like,
it's like fight or flight.
Fight or flight. Like the energy to even fight the system to like. To try to at least try to level the playing field. It's like people don't even have the fight in them anymore because of how
so because of that, it just flows you right into gangs. It flows you right into violence. It flows you right into maybe exploitation of yourself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It just flows. It's easily because the system is just like pouring this way. Yeah. And you have to be a salmon swimming upstream.
Yeah.
Or you could just turn around and just go where the system has for you. And when you look like us, there's a particular filtering system that is being flowed into.
Yep.
That when you look like us, it ain't gonna. It probably some of y'all get through the filter. Yeah. But it's probably ain't gonna turn out good for you.
And to even add on to that, even when you see them swimming upstream, there's still a bear waiting for the ones that actually make it out.
Bruh. I made it. I'm here. I've arrived. God damn it. Fuck all y'all niggas in that bucket. I'm out. I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought OJ was tripping, but he was onto something. He was onto something. I'm trying to tell you.
Like, I'm just saying, nigga, look out. Like there's even that bear. So that system, and mind you, you are like a crab in a barrel. You're just small little fish. We're mixing metaphors all over the place.
Yeah.
All over the goddamn place. But but like But you just a thing. But I'm just bringing it back down because you know what we were originally talking about is the goddamn the goddamn train shit, the
Yep.
precision scheduled railroading, and how individuals can't have time to like you know what I mean grow themselves.
Sick leave. Yep.
Bruh, we're talking about this big ass system. And you're talking about swimming upstream and making it that far, and then getting up all of that, and then there's a bear that you have to like defeat at the end of that bit to like go on to just like promulgate, you know what I mean, and procreate. You go through all of that just to get to where like it's like bruh, you know, the way my back and my knees, you know what I mean, these whole things.
See what you get.
You know what I mean,
It's
my
almost like you
shoulder.
can't
I gotta
even-
swim upstream. You say?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's almost like you can't even enjoy the fruits of your labor.
bro,
That's what it
that
comes
shit
down
is
to.
tough.
It's
I
tough,
get
man.
it.
Life is hard, bro. It's not.
I
easy.
get it.
Life is hard, man.
So, but yeah, them's the breaks.
Yeah.
Them's the breaks.
Mhm.
I'm still swimming upstream. I'm
Absolutely.
upstream. I haven't been caught in that filtration system yet,
Mhm.
but best believe they trying.
For sure.
They trying every day I step out of my
Yeah.
goddamn house, every day that I fucking breathe, every day that I'm collecting the paycheck by them, every day that I'm allowed to live in their neighborhoods. Best believe that filtration system is fucking trying. Whether it's a fucking, hey, a notice on my door because the HOA got something to say.
Taxes.
Whether if it's somebody who's seeing me getting something delivered to my house and they watching to see what it is.
Yeah.
The car pull up in my house.
Yep.
That filtration system is waiting for a wrong loud noise to come from my space to infiltrate
Yep. Try to hit you with
what
a
we've built,
phone.
what I've built.
Yeah.
So that decision point ain't don't stop at the lower levels. Jay-Z still got some looking over his shoulders.
Of course. Of course.
Best believe he's looking over his shoulders.
Of course. Yeah.
So
Of course.
you can't talk about putting on game. I don't know who ends up listening to this, but there's this one particular person that I want to talk to right now. It's this guy who's listening and who is at his lowest and his lowest of his lows, and is thinking of going left. I get it. You looking up, and I'm not gonna hold you. It's like it is that tough.
It is, my guy.
But you can go right.
Yeah.
You can't.
We feel you. We absolutely feel you, brother. Like we know. We know. But you have to grab life by the horns.
It's tough.
And your life is and I say this all the time, your life is the sum of the decisions that you make.
Yeah. And you get, and
It's
sometimes too,
really
it's like,
that.
sometimes you actually do get do-overs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That
Bruh,
happens, yeah.
learn from your past
surprised.
lessons.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be surprised, yeah.
You'd be surprised, like, yo, you thought you went left, and this is left. It's not left forever. It's not the wrong fucking turn forever. Like, there's still other decisions that can be like steer you back and back and back, and it's tough again. But guess what? You gave yourself even more hurdles to just get back to the regular trajectory for the tough fucking mutter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that shit is tough. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, what do you that's it. But you keep that goal.
That's
And
it.
you leave the world a better place. You know what I mean? You leave your family in a better situation. You leave your friends being the better because they have known you.
Yeah.
Because we all gotta go at some point. And like
Yeah.
we just here
Everybody
for
got
a little
expiration
bit.
date for sure.
We here for a
Yeah.
little bit. So like I hope people can make the most of it while they're here.
Yeah. You definitely have to maximize your time. It always feels like sometimes we may have all the time in the world, but it's like the amount of time that we exist, there are turtles that live up to 300-400 years. So like
to be a turtle.
you know what I'm saying? Like
To be a turtle.
So they could probably take their time a little bit. But for humans, like,
Yeah.
bro, we're not really living that long like that for real. Like, it really is like those years really passed by for it. It's so many OGs that I've spoken to that was like, yo, I was 15 one day and I woke up, I was 35. I woke up when I was
Nice.
50. Like, and I was like, yo, he's like, yeah, like it really, like time really seems to almost speed up as you get older sometimes. Like, and it's because like you get busier, you have more responsibilities, like the days seem shorter, obviously.
You
right?
know what? You know what? You know what tripped me out?
Yeah.
You know what tripped me out? One day when I was 29 years old,
Mhm.
and I don't know how this thought came to my mind, but I realized at that point that I had spent more years alive not having a mother than having a mother, because she died when I was 14.
Ah, wow. That's
Like,
so it's
I got to the point where
That's real.
I've even
That's
surpassed
real.
that. Now I'm fucking 40 years old.
Me too.
I've lived
She
the
died when I was 8.
bulk. You
Yeah.
live the bulk of your life without a mother.
Without a mother, yeah. Yeah. I realized that some time ago too, actually. Yeah, that's real.
Bro, we only here for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Mortality is such a brutal reality. It's such a brutal reality. That's why it's almost it's irresponsible to not. It's literally irresponsible to not maximize the time that you have.
Yeah. I mean, but it's tough.
But it's tough. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. That's real though.
Especially because they make the bad decisions so easy.
Mm,
The bad
yeah.
decisions so easy.
Yeah. Wide is the road. For sure. Wide is the road, bro. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
No, it takes more effort to be on a straight and narrow, to live a life of like character and integrity, and to just do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? It's harder
Yeah.
to do that. It really is harder to do
Yep.
that, bro. Especially when you see people doing the wrong thing and they're thriving in life, and you're
Yeah.
like, bruh.
Because
Like,
it's flowing, you're already
yeah.
you're swimming against the current if you do otherwise.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm just
That's
gonna
real.
run track and be fast, or I'm just gonna play football and be good, and like, and don't even like actually get the education at the school that I'm at.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? For like learning some other shit, you know what I mean, or something like that, just in case I, blow an MCL or some shit,
Yeah.
or something like. It's just like, or like, if I'm in the if I'm pushing weight, that's going to give me real world experience, so that when I write poetry, I'm talking from a real place, and this poetry gets put to a beat, and that shit is fucking hits the charts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, but the system is like, yeah.
Yeah.
The system already set up to like,
that.
yeah, we like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like, do that. The system is like, do that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And in the meanwhile, you're like working minimum wage jobs. You're helping them push their drugs. You know what I mean? You're helping them freaking push their toxicity, whatever the fuck else, through the system while you're doing that. You know what I mean? You're helping push misogyny with, because the system is like, we need that to reinforce this thing, because we got a product to sell on the other end. Actually, you don't quite see how the puzzle pieces fit together just yet, but just play your part and just go with the flow. We'll make it easy. We'll like slide it down, degrees down the slide for you.
Dang.
It's easy to make those decisions,
Mhm.
and it's hard to swim upstream.
It is.
So
I'm not gonna lie. And it gets exhausting.
it's fucking exhausting.
It's exhausting. Yeah.
This is why niggas need to take vacations. Like,
That's a fact.
take the wins.
Yeah.
You made it to a particular level where you might be able to get a PTO.
Mhm.
Take that PTO.
Mhm.
People get like these things where like these benefit packages where they get, like they'll get like 2-3 weeks off a year, and they're like
get unlimited PTO.
And they're like carrying it over year to year.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you earned that.
Mhm.
You're not only did you earn that because of all the fucking bullshit you had to put up in jobs even before you got to this level, you're putting up with bullshit with this job currently.
Yes.
And as part of your compensation, you need time to get your mind right. You need time to be like, okay, I'm going back into this fucking system. God damn. You know what I mean? There's actually like, you're swimming upstream, but there's actually like platforms that you can be like, take a break
Yeah.
while you're swimming upstream, because there's that at this level, there's that. So you earn those, take those. This is the point to realize, yo, I can celebrate some wins.
Yeah.
The system is tough, and I'm able to, rest for a little bit, recharge, and reap the benefits of what you were talking about. That seed
Yeah.
that I sowed,
Mm-hmm.
and now I can harvest.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna eat the whole harvest myself, not right now.
Yeah, sure.
I'm
of
not,
course
you know what I mean? But I can live a little bit.
Yeah, I can have some grapes here and there. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe some
Like,
grapes a little bit.
Yeah,
You know what I
I can have
mean?
can have a
Turn them
glass of
grapes
wine
into
here and there.
wine. Oh, some
Yeah.
wine. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I can
A
have a
little
glass.
bit.
Like, yeah.
I
it's
just
a
need a
fact.
glass or two.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna rest on it. I'm still gonna keep trying
Yeah.
to swim up this fucking stream.
Yeah.
Cause, and then there's a fucking bear up there. So we're gonna deal with that.
Yeah.
We're gonna deal with that bear when we get there.
Yeah. I think that's gonna resonate with a lot of people, just with what you mentioned about moms, because I thought about that some years ago actually, and I was thinking about I think I mentioned this to one of my friends. I was just kind of like, yo, by the time I was 21, both of my parents were deceased.
Yeah.
My dad didn't even see me graduate from college. I remember in high school, he was the only person that came to my graduation, because obviously you were away from college. Ronald was away from college. And it was just me and my dad. And I expected at least, by the time college comes around, of course, my mom and some of the folks.
Hold on, at the University of Florida, he had already died? Oh yeah, because you came down, you're trying to drive down and trying to get there last minute.
Yeah. Cause I didn't, when you told me, whatever. So like, I drove down. I tried to get there on time, but I didn't get there on time. Yeah, let me see that. Yeah, that January, because I graduated in that May, and that was 2010. So, so I thought about that, and I was like, dang, bro, like, like I'm really out here. Like, I'll be honest, that was probably the time, like seeing pops in that casket or whatever. Like, that was the time I think I probably felt the loneliest. Like, in my whole life, I was like, dang, I really ain't got no parents. This is crazy. like to the point I was just laughing about it, and I was laughing hysterically about it because I didn't know how to respond
that
to the
shit's
situation.
so fucking wild, dog. It's people out here. It's people out here that's like 50 years old. It's people out here that's like 60 years old, and they parents still here. Both of them,
yeah. Still married. Yeah. Man.
Yo, that's a blessing if I ever believed in one.
Yeah.
You 60 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents, you hitting retirement.
Yes.
You are retiring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And your parents are still alive. Still together.
Yep. Probably even in their own home too.
In their own home.
That mortgage already paid off. They had a decent retirement. They living their life. And now you retiring.
And now
they giving you pointers. They giving you pointers on having a productive retirement.
You know what I'm saying?
They're here to tell you and give you that kind of game.
They're here to tell you that game. Bro, and then we talking about giving you game on retirement.
On retirement, bro.
What about game on climbing up the fucking corporate ladder?
Right.
What about game on proper life insurance? What about game on how to set up my bank accounts?
Yeah.
What about game on buying my first fucking house?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What about game on picking a wife?
What about game on having a successful marriage? all these things that I've talked to friends about. I'm like, y'all don't understand how blessed y'all are.
Yo,
like, all these things I've had to learn on my own. Like I was 8. I was 8 when my mom passed. Like, the last time I actually saw a marriage within the home, like my own immediate home, was when I was 8 years old. That's the last time I saw it. My dad was literally single for the entire time that I was growing up until he finally got married again, like a year
before he died.
College before he died. And I was already out the house. I was in college. You know what I'm saying? So I still didn't see it. Right? I still didn't see it. And I'm like, yo, like, y'all don't understand. Junior, Faye, Jordan, couple of the boys back home, their parents are still alive. Will
Yeah.
still alive together. They're still married. All that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how Haitians are when it comes to that. Like, so like,
What the support system.
listen, I was telling Wood the other day. I was like, bro, like, man, you don't know how blessed you are to still have your parents.
And that's just your parents. Now they got grandkids. Those parents have grandkids to impart that knowledge to.
Absolutely. They can literally hold their grandbaby and this because he's gonna have his baby April 19th. Yeah. So at that time they're gonna be able to literally hold their grandchildren in their hands. Like, like growing up, you don't think that's something that I desire for my father to experience? Like,
but even for us though, like the fact that we like our grandparents was in a whole nother freaking country
that too. And I ain't gonna lie, that bothered me for a time too. I was like, dang, bro, like even the times I struggle to like try to communicate with grandma, like it's kind of like they still in a whole other country though.
And and it's like then there's like even if we communicate with them as often as possible, there's still like that detachment. We didn't grow up with them.
Yeah, exactly. Like we didn't really know them. So you're right about that.
Yeah, these are in like their kids' lives.
Yeah.
The grandkids' lives.
It's a jarring reality. Like when I realize the empty spaces in my upbringing, and I'm like, this is crazy because people have this literally by process.
Bruh, this is us swimming upstream. That setup. Setup really was trying to fuck with us. Bruh. Was really trying to filter us the fuck out.
It could have been bad. It could have been really bad.
I've made some decisions that like was like not wise.
Yeah, me too as well.
I would say why? That like somehow I got caught up on the lip of that filter. You know what I mean? Just crawled my way out of that bit. And I was able to freaking get back on my path. Bruh. That setup is a fucked up setup, man. Like, just having like, bro, having the both of your parents still alive at an adult age where you're getting married, you're having kids and stuff like that. Like that's that's good on you, man. You better cherish it while you got it.
For real.
You better cherish
I really admire. Yeah, for sure. And anytime I can remind like friends that I know of that, it's like, yo, like you don't understand how much of a blessing that is, bro. Like that resource, having actual grandparents, bro, having your parents still alive, having your parents still alive, and having grandparents. That's a lot of knowledge. That's 30, 40, 50 years of knowledge, bro, that you can just glean from.
You can just fucking download.
Like, yeah, you can just download, you know what I'm saying? But like some of us, we out here really just trying to swimming upstream. For real. You know what I'm saying? Like we really out here trying to get it.
You got somebody like this is why African cultures, man, really like admired their elders, man. They really held them in like God mode. Yeah. Because they had the game. Yeah. So they been here. And they know that the future ain't gonna be exactly how it was when they was young, whatever. But like they like, yo, there's some things that you might want to look out for. Yeah. That might not be the same, but like it'll be in a different iteration, but it's the same. Kind of like because there's like nothing new under the sun. Yeah. And so they put you up, you know what I mean? And you learn how to move through the world. That's a leg up. Yeah. That's a leg up.
There's so many conversations that I have like in my head, like that I just imagine having with pops, even with mom, like just conversations I would have in my head, like the things that I would talk to them about, that I would ask them about. You know what I'm saying? That if I had the opportunity to, I probably wouldn't have gone through some of the things that I went through. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I probably would experience some of the things that I've experienced. Like, people just
and there's a certain things like there's a certain level of like when you're young too, you know, you wouldn't even question your parents or some stuff, you know, but when you got older, you got a little bit more wise, you got a little bit more comfortable, you know what I mean? You could be like, yo, what's up with this thing? Yeah. You know what I mean? What's up with that? How come this is like that? You know what I mean? Or like this thing happened back then, like what the fuck was going on with you?
For real.
You know what I'm saying? And like you can actually have the words do that, or even have the courage to do that. You know what I mean? When you were like 11, 12 and they fucking running a fucking extension cord across your back type shit. Yeah. You know, it's like, you know what I mean? Yes, warden. You know what I mean? Kind of just like you can't just speak up on some kind of some stuff. You know, but you get that when you have the longevity of them still being in your life. Yeah. You get to evolve to that older person that you can, you know, pose those questions and have those conversations. Yeah. But I'm not bitter. You know what I mean? It's a different path. But it's just interesting as a thought experiment on occasion.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, and I understand what perspective you were coming from just by even mentioning that. I think, which is why I started off by saying I think that people will resonate with that, because I think they'll like just thinking about it and at least trying to put themselves in like in our shoes when you say stuff like that. It's kind of like, dang, I can't imagine not having my parents. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like it'll put people in a different.
But you know, we good on other things. You know, some people might have other challenges.
Yeah. I understand that. I'm just saying in regards to that specifically. Like if it's something that they can relate to, or that they can at least objectively understand. Like, wow, I can see how that can be something that's like, that can affect the way that someone thinks.
Yeah,
right?
but did you acknowledge the way I name dropped the show when I said challenges? No, you didn't catch none of that.
You know what? I don't think I caught that.
Damn,
I don't
is killing me.
I don't think I caught that. I ain't gonna lie. I give you that. You slipped that.
You supposed to be.
No, it's one of the few times I feel like you probably slipped it in. That I didn't catch it. I usually do catch it, but like I don't know, like when I think about it, I'm like, he did say that, but I didn't catch it at the moment.
I needed to do like a wink. What up, fam? It's Darwin, the guy that was just talking. First off, thanks for watching and supporting the show. But I gotta give y'all some homework. Your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is to interact with the show. That means 1, hitting that like button, because I know you like our stuff. 2, make sure you subscribe so we can swim our way up your timeline whenever we drop new content. The third thing, please share the channel with your friends. Maybe they'll learn a thing about a thing or two. Oh, last thing, we're over here talking about what y'all talking about. So go ahead and carry that conversation on into the comments. We be up in there too. All right, so bro, it's been another week, man. How's it been?
It's been cool. Interesting thing at work. My boss has decided to put me in a more leadership role as far as some projects that are coming down the pike. So it's a good thing. So
progress. That nigga trying.
Absolutely. So that's dope. That's gonna be an opportunity that's gonna be challenging, but it's gonna be well worth the experience. And I'll succeed in it, I'm sure. I'm a fairly introverted person. I think so. Some people that I've talked to, they say that I'm not, but I'm like, I think y'all capping. But you know, some people have different. Some people have said that I'm kind of both introvert and extrovert. And I'm like, I don't really feel like I am, but in my head, I believe that I'm introvert.
So I have a theory.
Okay.
This isn't a theory for you specifically, but it's related in that the whole introvert extrovert thing. Sometimes people can be fooled by, like in your case, where you say like you think you're an introvert, but people are thinking you're an extrovert. And what it is they're not getting the proper perspective of how to view an introvert or extrovert. Again, this is just a theory. This is just a theory of mine. Social interaction as a fuel source. Let's think about it that way.
Okay.
Right? An introvert, I feel, is a person that I feel like an introvert can go to a party and hang out.
Yeah, sure.
And have fun and, you know, I mean, be and then
like,
and they could also be in quarantine by themselves for a year. No problem.
Be straight.
Be straight.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
As opposed to an extrovert, which is, again, remember I'm saying social interaction as a fuel source. An extrovert needs that social interaction. Like they need to be in the mix. They need to be at the function. They need to be amongst people. They will drive themselves up the wall if they're left alone for too long. So that's a fuel source for them. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that's their fuel source. And they need that energy. You know what I mean? They need to, it's like you needing to have a plant in the room to like still let you know the concept of life and just so you can feel the feng shui of it or whatever. You know what I mean? It's all of that. It's like they need that. It's a fuel source for them. But an introvert is like, they don't actually need, they're like on solar power or some shit.
Yeah. That's good. That's pretty good. Yeah.
You know, kind of something like that.
Yeah, that's I find
They
that to be
can,
pretty
they
accurate.
can,
That's-
they can like, yeah, I'm good. You know, I can go and actually to the function.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes I'd be in the function, I'd be like, damn, should I just stay at home and be like, you know, I just want to stay home. You know what I mean? You'd be fine. But like an extrovert is like, no, I have to be with people.
That makes sense. I mean, I understand
It's a theory.
that theory.
It's a theory.
Yeah.
It's a random theory. I didn't do a study.
Yeah. No, it's I can see the logic in that. Right. Have you ever seen, speaking on that, have you ever seen like some of those TikToks or like on IG where they'll show a person like at a party and they're like in a corner and it'll say something like introverts at a party or something like that, and then that song in the background like, I wanna go. Like, and usually it'll say like introverts or something at a party, something like that. They're just sitting in the corner just like, and you know, they're kind of like reevaluating their whole life.
Like, why did I I know I didn't want to come to this.
I still find myself here.
And I'm still by myself, lonely in a crowded room.
Yep, absolutely.
But you know, I don't want to say lonely, because lonely has the connotation of like it's a bad thing when introverts are by themselves. No, they're not lonely. They're just
lonely, but they're alone. Like they're by themselves.
They're alone. They're by themselves. So that's what I meant by that.
Yeah. So I just find it kind of funny because it's kind of like, because I've always kind of see myself that way anyways, like the person that, because like I could be in the crib all day chilling.
Yeah.
Like I could just be chilling and I have no gripes about it at all. You know what I'm saying? And I'll probably go out to, I don't know, go to the gym, go hoop or something like that, and come back home and I'm chilling. Like I don't have any issues with it. I don't think I do.
There's some people. There's some people that legit have to like all the time have to have somebody like, yo, come through. You know what I mean? I'm not doing nothing. Just come through.
Yeah, I'm not.
Come hang out. You know what I mean? You know, they just have to have somebody over.
And that's true, because I definitely know some people like that. Like I know a guy who always said like, yeah, man, I love hosting, and he's one of those kind of guys. He was like, yeah, I gotta have somebody over, or like just, hey, let's go hang out, or like, hey, yeah, come to the crib, man, we'll do A, B, and C or whatever. Like I know quite a few guys like that, and like,
but I mean, I host myself sometimes, so I'm not saying that I don't indulge in the fuel in that particular fuel a little bit, but I don't need it personally to like sustain, you know, my existence. Like not as a need, but well, I guess maybe it is a need, but it's just not at that percentage level where it needs to be. Because I will host every once in a while. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, I'll like ask friends to, you know, let's go out to dinner every once in a while. You know what I mean? So every once in a while, I do want to tap into that social network, you know what I mean? That social energy, you know, that fellowship that you might call it, you know what I mean? To just to stay connected with and what it is to be human. It's not, you know, if you're not human in any relationship, you're not, you know, fully human. You know what I mean? Like being in, you know, a hermit or isolated, you know what I mean? There's a whole piece of your humanity that's lost, that's not being developed when it's like that. So
and I think that's a valid point, which is why for me, I think it's likely more of like kind of like both. It's not like I don't need to like be outside and doing all types of different activities to have fulfillment. Like just like how you were just mentioning, like, but I have things that I'm held accountable for, that I'm a part of, that I do outside of my house, obviously, right? Like obviously if it's the gym, or if it's at my church, or like with a group of men that I hang with, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I have different things that I'm a part of, different social groups I'm a part of, that I'm ultimately always going to be socializing with somebody at some point in time, right, throughout the week. And I think for me, and the reason why I even bring this up as a challenge as far as meeting new people is because like I'm also a person that like values friendship like quite a bit. Like and I'm a person who's like really loyal to a fault, right? Like my homies, like when I reference like my homies, every time I talk about my homies, the people who know me know I'm talking about the same group of guys that I grew up with. Like these are guys I've known for 20 plus years. Like I don't have like a variation of different friends other than like the group of guys that I got connected with up here. But even with the group of guys that I got connected up here, like from Florida and now being in Maryland, these guys I've known for years too, right? So it's not like I have one group here, another group here, another group. It's like, no, like, and I still commune with the homies back at the crib in Miami.
And you're still the same Jeff with
And
every group.
Right, exactly. I'm not like a different person. Like I'm me. As a matter of fact, as I've gotten older, actually, good thing you mentioned that. As I've gotten older, actually, I've accepted who I am even more so. I'm like, you know what? I'm a pretty good dude. I've even had my homie say that. I've had
trying.
And I'm exactly. I'm trying.
I'm out here trying.
I'm really out here trying. And I get that. And I get that report from people who know me. They're like, yo, Jeff is a good dude. Like he's like, I've even known people from work that'll be like, you know, Jeff, you know what? I rock with you because you're a good dude. I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna help you. I've had people who do favors for me at work because of my character, my integrity. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I'm not the type of guy who's trying to get one over. Like, I'm a laid back guy. I'm easy going. I'm not a pain for anybody. I work hard. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not extra. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just a normal dude who's trying. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to better myself and be better. Like, so people recognize that and they see that and they want to, you start to gain favor with people. Right. Yeah. But some people,
but that's what we're talking about. It's like, really, we just like, if we can see that in folks, like we can get along. Like if we could recognize, and because some people don't be trying. Some people don't be trying, but like for those that's out there trying, and for people who's looking for people who out there trying, those people to connect, bro, that's how you build.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm saying all this because it's like there are people who would argue, and I've heard this argument before. People would argue and say like, well, the fact that they'll phrase it like this, like, oh, you don't really tend to meet new people because you have a lack of trust. Like you have a problem trusting people. That's the argument, right? They'll be like, you have a problem. That's why you have the same group of friends. But I'm like, I don't think that's necessarily true because it's like, well, these are guys that I've known for years. They've been proven as like stand-up dudes. And I wouldn't necessarily befriend a person who's not a stand-up person. Like, especially for as long as I've known them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it made me think about, I'm like, do I struggle meeting new people? I don't think I do. Because, for example, even the church that I go to is actually a new church that started a year ago, right? And notice people I never met before, like it's just people that I met when I found this church. I thought it was a dope church. I ended up going to it. And like the people that I met there, I just flowed right in. I flowed right in. Like people were cool. We had conversations and we just rock with each other.
Yeah. You like, I mean, when you think about it too, for yourself, even your own story, you moved from Miami to Gainesville.
Yes.
You had to like meet a bunch of new niggas.
Absolutely.
And like,
absolutely.
And build a life in that space. And then you go to Georgetown. Not like we had family here. It's not like we had roots here or friends, family friends or anything like that. You had to build a life in Georgetown.
I really had to be more like, especially when I got here when I went to Georgetown, like I really had to be intentional. Like really intentional about meeting people, like for real. Like, and I think I told you before about this a long time ago that there was a philosophy major guy who lived down the hall from me when I was in the dorm. I'm at Georgetown, my first year. White guy who if you imagine the whitest of the white guy, that's what he looked like. Like he looked like he was straight from the Caucasus
Chris Hemsworth and
yes.
Thor.
Thor, like he looked just like that, just with long hair. Like he looked like the prototypical white guy that anybody could imagine, right? But he was
gnarly, bro.
Yo, like I'm willing to bet $1,000 that's in your vocabulary. I guarantee that to you. Like he was that guy. Like he was that guy.
Yeah.
But this guy ended up being.
But he's also a philosophy major.
He's also, bro. And he was one of the guys that when I got to Georgetown, like really challenged.
Wait a minute. Wait. Are you trying to? Is this story leading to you telling me that you were dorm mates with Matthew McConaughey? Is that where we're going here? I'm sorry.
I was getting there. And I realized he turned out to be Matthew McConaughey. I was like, dang, that's your...
I beat you to the point. I'm sorry. I stepped on the punchline. I'll edit all this out. Don't worry.
But this guy ended up being like one of the coolest guys that I met. Just like literally the first guy that I really met when I got there ended up being the coolest guy that I've known for like in the last 10 years, 10, 15 years of my life. Like he was.
You still like in touch with dude?
I haven't been in touch with him because I think he probably changed his number or something like that. So it's been a while.
But you got email.
But yeah. But this
That's
guy
when you're
was
talking
just-
about being intentional. Just
Yeah.
do it. You
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
email. Send me an email. Just like a letter. Hey, bro.
Yeah,
Just catch
yeah.
it. You know. Hey, how you doing?
It's like
It's
I
been a
have
minute.
to see if I can. Yeah, I have to see if I can find that information because I think he changed his number. 'Cause I did hit him up like a while ago, but I think he changed his number or something like that. Maybe he just got a new phone.
Yeah.
So
Or maybe
things
one of
like
the
that happen.
social medias. I don't know if you have
Yeah.
a social media that he might have or something like that. But
Yeah. Cool guy, man. Like cool guy that really challenged my thinking on a lot of things. I mean, and this guy was intelligent. He was. I ain't gonna lie. He wasn't a philosophy major for nothing. Like
oh, so not Matthew McConaughey. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't Matthew McConaughey.
was not Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah,
I should have waited for that part of the story.
Right. But I'm saying all that to say that it's kind of like, I guess in my mind, because of what people have said about like just me having the same group of friends and the people that I've met over just the course of my life, and they would say it kind of seems like you probably struggle with meeting new people because it's really the same people that you talk about just throughout your life when we have these discussions. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I have all these examples that I've actually met people, like new people in different phases of my life, and it just ended up being cool. So I don't think that's the case. So like,
so do you think? So when you bring up meeting new people with getting this leadership role, so how does that tie together? So is there some new people that you're gonna have to like meet to do this leadership role?
Yes. So that's the reason why I mentioned that, because obviously my team, because that's another group of people, new people that I had to meet at some point, right?
But you knew them before.
But I knew them before. But with this leadership role, there's gonna be like cross teams that I have to engage with, people that I never talked to at all.
That you've never met before.
That I never, with in this project. So that's gonna be another thing, right? But that's gonna be a little bit. That may be the reason why it's a challenge, is because, again, these are people that I've never met, but at the same time, there is a level of professional expertise I'm expected to be able to show,
to bring to the role,
and to bring to bring to the role. So
okay, so here's the question. All right, you is it people that's portraying you or that have given you an account that you have trouble meeting new people, or are you taking this identity on board independent of some outside critique or anything? Like, do you think you have trouble meeting new people?
I don't think I have trouble meeting new people, but I brought up as a challenge,
or even like, creating relationships with new people.
And that's what I was getting at, is creating relationships with new people. I met even some folks in Miami. I met some folks in Miami that I've never even knew about because since I've been away, right? Yeah. And like, I found that my engagement with them was probably like a little awkward because they probably heard of my name. Mm-hmm. They probably see my photo and like some pictures or something like that, but they never really met me for real. And I found it kind of weird and kind of like, because it seemed forced, right? Because I kind of had to meet them because everybody was there in one place.
At a wedding.
At a wedding, at a baby shower, actually.
Baby shower.
So it didn't feel as organic as some of the other experiences that I described earlier. So that's kind of why, like, I put it as a challenge, because it's kind of like, am I underestimating this? Do I actually think that when I meet new people, it's easy, or is it something that I'm missing here? So that's why I put it as like a challenge, because it may legit be a challenge for me to meet new people outside of the circles that I'm already familiar with.
So,
right? So that's what I was getting at.
Okay, I feel you.
But as far as overcoming it, that's why I mentioned those stories, because those were things that I would say that I overcame just by flowing into those relationships naturally, and those things being organic and being intentional.
So, I get the conundrum there, because there's something to be said about, I don't know, you just been hooping at this particular gym for a minute, and this guy is on your team a couple of times, and y'all get to chatting on the court, and they just that, and then next you know, you're like, oh, you do that? Oh, I do that. And then you find something related, and next you know, you're on the game, PS5, and they on there with you, and you play the game together or something. And like, it's just, there's this organic thing that just happened because you just met them somebody like that. Versus something like you enter a room and go be friends. Like everybody,
Yeah,
go be
right.
friends.
Yeah, that's
Like go be friends, and like and then
Yeah.
imagining. This is this whole thing about the networking happy hours and things. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
imagining being in that setting where just like go be friends. 3 years down the line, where like you still have a meaningful business relationship or friendship or so any kind of contact.
Yeah.
3 years down the line, it's like you have to really be you're gonna have to really be intentional at that point to be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow up with this person just to follow up on this.
Yes.
Just schedule a lunch, schedule a coffee, just to specifically get that. Wow, the dude that you met at the basketball court, you've been doing all this bonding just because and then you next thing you know, you built a relationship. Man, I've known this guy for years now. You know what I mean? You end up to the point where
Yeah.
you're going to each other's houses and
Yeah.
bachelor parties and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that it feels more organic, but it's like the question is like, as long as you get if the relationship is built at the end of the day, I don't know if there's like, yeah, I think we want them all to be organic, but sometimes it's okay to kind of just like jump in
Mm.
and build something out of nothing.
I think I do have. I will say with that piece, I think I may
Especially
have some
especially
reluctancy.
in your situation where like, hey, here's a new team, like what I mean,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah, that, yeah.
you have to like build something out of nothing out of that, and like
Yeah.
you have to be intentional.
Yeah, that and that's I think I will say that piece of it is I may have some reservation in doing things like that, right? Like just like that code that code approach or that
It's part of
it's
swimming
kinda like,
upstream.
yeah, it's kind of like but then like once you get going, you kind of get comfortable, then you can flow. But yeah, I think you
You
kind of
gotta
like
find a
narrowed
way
it
to
down to
do it
that.
in your own voice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
where it's not necessarily that you gotta be code switching necessarily, which you should practice a level of if you're
Yes,
climbing up
yes.
the fucking
Has a
corporate ladder.
place.
But like there could
Has a place,
still
yeah.
be like you still have to find that balance of like keeping your own authenticity.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like keep your
Yeah.
authenticity and keep it like, because part of what I am personally kind of proud of myself for cultivating is that I'm pretty much the same guy, closer and closer. There's some differences, but like I'm
Okay.
pretty much the same guy in most spaces that I walk into, from
Okay.
work to a social gathering to on
Mm.
here.
Mhm.
Like I am generally the same guy,
Mhm.
and that is but knowing that I'm still a victim of capitalism at the end of the day, I gotta check myself here and there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I can't.
Yep.
I'm not gonna be 100% the same in every space, but
Mhm.
um, that's just what I'm saying for you. As you adjust to that role, like allow yourself to be a little bit more of yourself, because you become more valuable. As you become more valuable to the company, they have to accept you as you are more and more.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah, you're right. Because if you're adding, like you mentioned, if you're adding value to a company, yeah, they have to. The more that they are, the more leverage you have for them to accommodate
Yeah.
for you. Yeah, yeah,
You leverage that in
yeah.
these intangibles.
Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
In
You have
these
to be something that.
intangibles. So again, one, make sure you get that monetary value.
That's a
And
fact.
two,
Yeah.
like allow yourself the space to be more and more yourself, be more, because you earned that spot and you are a specialist now. You know what I'm saying? You are
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a minority in the skill that it takes to do whatever it is that you're doing. So
That's true.
fuck them. They gonna have to come through you.
Yeah,
Y'all
that's
only got
true.
like two other options, and those other twos is locked down already.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have to come through me. I'm your last option, or I'm your best option. If you want something good done,
Mm-hmm.
I'm your best option. Like you're gonna have to come through me. There's not a lot of us out here that
Yeah.
do this. And
Yeah.
so you become a specialist, then you could be like, they have to take you as you are.
Yeah. And not only that, even with how I look, right? Because your company is probably gonna want like, oh, this guy has this skill set and he's black.
And he's black. It checks off the diversity button.
Yeah.
You know
So
you
they're
that
kinda like,
checkbox. Yeah, you got it.
yeah.
You know you got it.
For the folks out there, if you think companies ain't intentional about who they hire, you are tweaking. You are big tweaking.
Yeah.
They are very intentional about who they hire. Like
Not endorsing that bullshit, but
Yeah, I'm
that's
not-
the
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
system.
It's the reality. It really is. It really is. Companies are much more calculated in who they hire and their hiring practices in general. It's just the nature of it.
I don't think I would. I don't, man. I don't think I would have ever said this before. I would never have said this. I grew up admiring this guy. Relationship goals type of guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You see his growth. You see where he is in the pantheon of like great Americans.
Okay.
Will Smith is a bitch. Will Smith is a bitch ass nigga.
I think a lot of people would agree with you there at this point.
I like, dog. I like him so much, and this is just. By the way, this is the vibes section. I see vibes up here. So I mean, I'm going about this like the long way home, but I'm trying. Right? I'm trying to say a thing here, man. So Chris Rock's new comedy special,
on Netflix,
on Netflix is called Selective Outrage. Now,
man, they hold nothing back.
I suggest people watch it.
For
It wasn't my favorite. It was good. It wasn't great. I think, damn, the thing is like, what I want to say is like, it needed to cook a little longer. You know what I mean? Just like, let it sit in the oven a little longer.
It provided context though.
It did. But like in terms of cohesiveness and like driving home certain points that he was trying to make and make that point funny kind of thing is like, sometimes he missed the mark a little bit, right?
Okay.
But it was a good show, and I saw, because I'm into theater, I'm into comedy special shows and stand up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm into like viewing these things. I go to, I fly to places sometimes to go see a comedy show or something like that, right? So I mean, I'm no professional. I'm not a comedian myself, but I see what he was trying to do. I see what he was trying to do. He didn't exactly hit the mark. He wasn't that far off, but he didn't exactly hit the mark. So it brings up the whole conversation of the event in question. And Chris himself knew that people are waiting with bated breath to hear what this dude is gonna. You had an event like that with a comedian, a person who gets a solo platform on occasion.
Yeah.
And you did that to him at the Oscars. So even people that wasn't even into black comedy or Chris Rock or something like that, they was into the Oscars.
Yep.
Because the Oscars be so white and they be tuning in. And they saw this happen at the Oscars. And then they find out, oh, this guy's a comedian as well. I'm going to be interested in hearing what he has to say when he gets a microphone and his own platform. So it was a big event. It was a tightrope. He got a lot of eyeballs.
It was a live event as well.
It was a live event. He kind of missed the mark.
Yeah.
Right? He kind of missed the mark.
You're seeing those headlines too that he did.
But it's a still must watch. Because if you're part of this whole system of being into entertainment in Hollywood and all this kind of stuff, and if you're into that realm, you're keeping up with these guys because they provide you content, movies and comedy shows, it's relevant to know this is a key point of that story. It's like following the MCU but like never seeing Doctor Strange, the standalone movie, you know what I mean? Or didn't see like No Way Home or something like that. You know, it's like
you
should see
elements
it.
of the story. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, like you have to see it just to get the context. Like, because if you don't see it, it's gonna be a gap of information. That
it's gonna be a gap of information.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, there are some really funny moments.
Okay.
There's some really funny moments.
Okay.
There's some like really good like writing. Whoever helped him, who I don't know if he has a writing team, but I'm not accusing him of not writing his own jokes. But if there's some good writing in there, where it's like building a story. He does something where like he alludes, "Oh, I don't want no more beef with another rapper." He says that, right? But he doesn't name a rapper. You know, Will Smith used to be a rapper kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like he does kind of hints at some Easter eggs like that because he's building a storyline. So I'm like, oh, I could see a storyline building here. This is freaking clever, you know? But it just doesn't quite land. And damn, how long has it been? Can I do spoilers? Has it been long enough if we put this out? I don't know. I'm not gonna do spoilers.
Especially been out for like a week.
I don't know. I don't know what the rules is on these things. You know, if it's 2 weeks or a month, whatever. But I'm not gonna spoil it. But to say that, like, I'm gonna just say he thinks he stuck the landing. I mean, he really like you gotta when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Really think he stuck the landing on there, and I'm like, I don't think your ankle supposed to be twisted that way. You know, you and I kind of see you grimacing, like you know, you kind of missed it a little bit here. You know what I'm saying?
Missed the mark a little bit.
You missed the mark a little bit. So that's just all I'm going to say about that. So I start off all this by saying Will Smith is a bitch ass nigga. How do I get there? Right? I didn't forget. I didn't forget that. Yo, man, I've been thinking about this since the day it happened, man. When I saw that joint, man, when Will Smith
it was corny.
Shit, huh?
It was corny. At the gate, it was corny.
It's like, when fucking I saw that, corny.
I was like, it's corny, bro.
Like, but I don't know if it's the same perspective. So I'm interested in hearing how you think it was corny.
Yeah.
But I think and Chris Rock kind of has a point in the special where he's like saying like people like, yo, your wife was in an entanglement, my guy. You know what I mean? Like, and people was talking shit about you about that. You know what I mean? Like, and you kind of saw some of these people in interactions and stuff. You run in some of the same circles, and they was really like going in on you about that. You know, and
you wasn't on that type of time with them.
And you wasn't on that type of time with them. Like, granted, the thing that I just said was offensive, you know, and like I've been going in like Chris Rock does a thing where he brings them up. I don't know if he's always poking fun at them every time, but he brings them up a lot in his comedy, right? He brings them up often, right? And like it's like, oh, I mean, I guess it is a cultural touchstone for us, for everybody, really. Like you got to mention Jay-Z and Beyonce. This is just like these are our Kennedys. These are our royal families. You know what I mean? Will Smith and Jada, you know, Jay-Z, Beyonce.
Rihanna, he even mentions Rihanna sometimes.
You know what I'm saying? These are some of these are our cultural royalty. So it's like,
but I've also heard that there has been like a tiff between them for some time though. I've heard that before between him and Will Smith.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some like that, but I mean, part of it is also why you always talking about us. Like, talk about other people, you know what I mean, or whatever. Bring up everybody else. But again, y'all the royal family of it. And some of the tip is like since like it's since long before where Chris Rock explains like he puts it in the special. I don't want to spoil that part either. But they've been at odds before, but he keeps bringing it up. So either way, I'm not excusing Chris Rock of making that joke about Jada's alopecia, right? But the special is called Selective Outrage. Yeah. And my guy Will Smith chose this time to be to jump bad. It's like, now you're gonna break bad, right? Now you're gonna do this, like, and like, come on, bro, like. As a bigger person, like a physically bigger person, like you know when somebody is like smaller than you,
Yeah, of course.
that
Of course.
like it's like, oh, you know what? I ain't even gonna waste my time kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like knowing that you could do that and like bro, I think there is some validity. And when people say like Will Smith would not have done that to The Rock. He did
Of
it to
course
Chris
not.
Rock. He would not have done that
not.
to The Rock.
No, he would not. Everybody knows that.
I think there's some validity to that.
Yeah, it's easy to see that. Come on, let's keep it.
I think even if he had it in his head and he could cross that line, he would get to that line and be like, nah. He'd be like, nah. He wouldn't make that decision to go up there and smack this dude on national TV, not knowing where this could go.
Yeah.
Not knowing where this could go, right? And so
I would argue this. I would argue that he wouldn't do that to like the average rapper. Like, say if it was Meek Mill, would he go up to Meek Mill and do that?
He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do
like,
that.
It's because you know what. Like, it's certain people that like it's.
This is what I'm saying. So this is why I started off by saying Will Smith is a bitch ass nigga. Yeah. He knew he was bigger, stronger. You know what I mean? Than Chris Rock is and was and has always been. He's been this he's like what 5'9", 5'10", 160, 170, soaking wet, probably. Will Smith is what 6'2", at least 200.
No, I think he's like 6'4", actually. I think Will Smith is like 6'3". I think he's like 6'3" or 6. We can check it, but like I think he's like 6'3" or 6'4" or something like that.
Bro, he's clearly
he's not bigger, but he's not a small guy.
He's not a small guy. So like when you're the big guy and you fucking like want to like dunk on little niggas, you know, like small people that's smaller than you, that's like that's when you choose to do it after everybody been talking shit about you.
Yeah, he's 6'2". Yeah, you're right. He's 6'2".
You ain't never run up on Joe Budden.
For real.
You know what I mean? You ain't even run up on Charlemagne. Yeah, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, you saw the opportunity of a guy that you thought was smaller, and you were a fucking bully.
Yeah.
And I think bullies are bitch ass niggas.
Yeah.
Like they do that type of shit to people that they think that can't fight back, and oftentimes they don't fight back.
Of course.
So they get away with it every time. And that's where they freaking get their jollies off. Will Smith unleashed a whole bunch of different trauma on Chris Rock with that one slap that Chris Rock did not earn. That other trauma that other people put on Will Smith and his ability to apparently not deal in a healthy way with his own situation. And he saw an opportunity, as thinly veiled as it may have been, and again, not discounting Chris Rock making the jokes about Jada, but to go dare with it, you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have done that to The Rock.
Nah,
you wouldn't have done that to you wouldn't have done that to Kendrick. I mean, well, Kendrick would have made a joke like that, but like. And especially in an environment like the person's making jokes, you know, like
it's comedy, my guy. And it's the Oscars, like it's a whole bit.
It's
a whole bit. Like we all know and have that understanding. Like,
and also I'll give him another point in saying this: like when Chris Rock told that joke, it wasn't funny. It was just like, oh, I see you doing a G.I. Jane joke. It's just like, that's been done. It wasn't even funny.
That too, and I would even argue and say that Chris Rock didn't even know about this alopecia thing.
No, man.
I don't. You think he knew that she actually had like an actual diagnosis of it?
Bruh, she had Red Table Talk.
I don't
that
know.
whole platform, and he talks about them even before they had Red Table Talk.
But I don't think you can. I don't think you can prove that he had
the Smiths
knowledge of it though.
Live rent free in Chris Rock's head.
Okay, fair.
Look at the trajectory of his whole career. There are always a subject matter that he brings up.
But can you prove that he was aware of it?
I can't prove it, not in the court of law.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think people can like. Okay, we can.
But we are here in the court of public opinion, my nigga. This is what we're doing out here.
Yeah, that's true. But from my perspective, I'm not sure if you can really say that he really did though. Like I'm not sure you can reach it. He definitively. I'm not like
even
saying
if,
that to
even
give
if
him
she
as a,
well, okay, how about this? How about I give you this? Even if he didn't know, let's say she just shaved her hair because she wanted to. She ain't had no alopecia. He's trying to make bald jokes. Is what he's trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, that's clear.
Listen, if we bring it
Yeah,
down
that's
to its
clear.
essence, that's all he's trying to do. Trying to make bald jokes because of somebody's choice of not having hair.
Yeah.
So
that's
like,
true.
as you did the joke about somebody not having hair, it just wasn't funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't. Like, even when I heard the joke, I was like, it's not really funny. I mean,
that's like low hanging fruit or something like that. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
like telling
yeah, that's
fart
pretty-
jokes.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to tell fart jokes, and we come to Chris Rock for something a little bit more snappy, a little bit more clever. You know what I mean? And you just basically telling smart fart jokes. So either way, him bringing it up again, you know, just like wasn't that funny? And then like, so Will Smith jumping off for that. You know what I mean? I think what would have served everybody the best. Everybody, and again, I'm trying to be here for doing the world a little bit of good, a little bit, leaving the world a little bit better than I found it.
Yeah.
Everybody should just booed. Everybody should just booed. Will Smith should have booed. Jada should have booed. The audience should have. Oh, come on, boo. You know what I'm saying? Do one of them. You know what I mean? He'll be like, oh, okay, all right, well, what else is funny? What else is funny? You know what I mean? It would have been embarrassing him for a little bit. He would have got some growth out of it because, you know what I mean? It was a chance. He bombed on a big stage. And then we would have got a special about how he bombed on a big stage. Like, you know, and like everybody would have got it out. Will Smith would still be a stand-up dude to me. You know what I mean? And all the and him, like, with the contrition and the apology that he puts out and everything like that, you know, he didn't have to go through all that downside. He has movies probably canceled. You know what I mean?
He did. They mentioned that he had some movies that were.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, I like a redemption story though.
I mean, he did Emancipation for Apple TV. So
yeah.
So he's trying
But
to like
Emancipation ain't Independence Day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It ain't Men in Black.
I mean, Emancipation. I don't necessarily recommend anyone who understands the story, and knows the story accurately, about that particular slave, Peter. I think Emancipation did a horrible job at depicting who that is, and it also made me mad a little bit the fact that Will Smith was casted for that particular role.
Oh wow! Here's another thing. Will Smith I think he chose that role. He's talked about it. I think he may even be a producer on that bitch.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, maybe that's probably what he had more control over, if that's the case.
But he was really talking about this is a story that he's been thinking about for a while that he wanted to have done.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's cool. That's cool. I would rather
maybe he was just doing it for the press junkets.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I think it was his way of like trying to wean his way back into the hearts of people, or wiggle his way back into the hearts of people, to have like to be a part of like a very thought provoking and emotional movie about a particular time in history. It just made me kind of mad because I know the history in particular about that particular event with this Haitian slave. So it irked me a bit. But from a perspective of just trying to get on everyone's good side. I'm sorry?
So you watched it?
Yeah. No, I watched it. I watched it. And I watched it, from beginning to end, and I went away from it annoyed. Like I was annoyed by it. So much so, even on social media, I was like, all this y'all trying to hype up with this movie, y'all need to that's dead. This is not accurate. This is actually what happened in this particular time. This is what this Haitian former Haitian slave actually went through. These are the events, and
Will Smith was a producer.
So that's cool. You can be a producer. I would rather you have guys, because they're actual Haitian actors that you could have actually had cast for that role that would have made it, I think, even better. Like actually respectable Haitian actors. But that's neither here nor there. That's kind of how I felt about it. But at the same time, I felt like, I just feel like it was his attempt to like really get back into a favorable position in the court of public opinion. So you needed something, and I guess it's probably also.
But I think, the thing is like something like that was already in production, though. That's something like that was already in production.
Yeah. So that's why. But I was gonna say at the same time, though, I think it's also something to kind of like win the hearts of those directors again in Hollywood. Like, hey, we can still work with this guy. Look at the project that he put out with Apple TV. So And maybe could have been something like that too. Just kind of like, you know, hey guys, I still
you got
it.
yeah. I get it's sort of like at some point Will Smith does have to test the waters and be like,
for sure.
Can I come back out here? And so like first step into that is like something on Apple TV.
It's bait. It's bait. Emancipation's bait.
Like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
Bait.
Yeah. And the industry they ain't never see a nigga getting whipped on a script that they ain't like. You know what I mean? Like, it's a nigga. He's getting whipped.
There's a method to the madness.
Slavery, you say, huh?
There's a method to the madness.
Where do I sign? Where do I sign? So maybe Will Smith was possibly leaning into that when he inked this deal or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I'm not accusing. Allegedly.
I would have put it past him.
Hey, allegedly. But yeah, for him to be for bullies to be picking on somebody smaller than them, they know it, you know, and to do that, like you're trying to son them like that, you know what I mean? That's like,
that's what it felt like. Definitely felt like that.
You
was
a bitch ass nigga, man. Like you ain't like you ain't gonna keep that same energy. You're not.
No.
Oh, you are? No, you're not. No. Oh, you finna keep that same energy that got your ass walking up the stairs. If that was Jason Momoa or if that was freaking John Baptiste. No, you're not gonna keep that same energy.
Nah.
If that was fucking Dave Chappelle up there, he would not keep that same energy.
Yeah, for real.
Dave Chappelle fucking box, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you would not.
Yeah.
You take that Ali shit if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Put you on some Tyson shit. Everybody got a plan to get punched in the face. You get up there talking on Dave Chappelle.
It could have been Anthony Anderson. It could have been what's your boy? What's his name? Deion Cole. It could have. You wouldn't have done that to any of these guys.
You wouldn't have done that.
You wouldn't have done that to Corey Holcomb. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not, bro.
Or fucking Terry Crews.
Because
he be on them hosting type shit.
Yeah.
Get out of here, bro.
Come on, man. We already know what time it is, bro. We already know what time it is. Like, yeah.
So, the vibe. All of that to say, the vibe I'm recommending on this day, the 12th of March, close to the Ides of March, it's an album that just dropped called Myself. by a young man named August Alsina.
Oh my God. If y'all didn't listen, I'm talking to the audience. If y'all didn't see this coming,
hey, the young man has something to say. Listen, you should listen to these tracks.
Oh my goodness.
Though, right? I mean, August Alsina just might be in his bag on this one. Right.
And if anyone knows August Alsina, he is Mr. Toxic. His whole persona is being toxic. That's his
So we talked about the Smiths. We talked about the Smiths living rent-free in Chris Rock's mind. August Alsina lives rent-free in a duplex in the mind of Will Smith. And in the other unit is Tupac. Tupac and August Alsina are living in this dude's head rent-free.
Tupac was a wild boy too.
And and Will Smith needs to work out that trauma at some point. I know I've seen a lot of growth from him already, and I know, you know what I mean, that he is an evolved person. There's still this particular corner that, you know, that he's working through. And he thought he might have had it. But then that Oscar night happened.
Man.
And there's even more to the story. Because that Oscar night happened, becomes now a day that's memorialized in history.
Yep.
In Marlon Wayne's stand-up special called God Loves Me. It's such... you could not write the way this whole story has unfolded. You didn't even know Marlon Wayne was entangled, let's say, In all of
has
this.
a whole bit on it. Whole bit on it. This man,
Marlon
dang,
Wayans wrote
I
an
don't want to spoil it.
entire special.
Dang, I don't want to spoil it. he intertwined into special.
Yo,
But
y'all got
the way
some
that Marlon Wayans
homework.
did it, the way that Marlon Wayans did it was actually brilliant. I ain't gonna lie.
It's fucking Picasso
It
level.
was genius.
It was the snap.
Genius.
It was the snap at the end of the MCU. It was that.
Yeah, y'all got to see that Marlon Wayans special. I ain't gonna lie, that was I personally grew a new level of respect for Marlon Wayans. I was like,
yo, because I've watched his special before.
Like,
and my boy put me on this one. Man, like I did not like his specials before. I was like, stick to the movies. You know what I mean? Stick to the like the sketches and stuff like that. Yeah. But I was like, I did not really like his stand-up. But he has shown some growth.
Yeah.
That is a nigga who is trying.
Yeah.
Even his, I don't know, I felt like his vibrato was different. Just like he's got one. He's got one.
This one was, I ain't gonna lie, this one was a good one.
And to be able to like plug it right into this freaking volcano of a Will Smith, Chris Rock thing. Yeah. You didn't even know Marlon Wayne had a whole thread. All of this. You didn't even know. So it's a lot of homework. It's the vibe is something. This vibe is gonna take some time to digest. Yeah. But it is a fascinating story that is going on in our lifetime. Like none of it matters. It doesn't pay my bills or nothing like that. But like, bro, I go to movie theaters because I like theater. Yeah. I go to plays because I like seeing drama. This shit that's playing out in real life, and then and it's playing out in real life, and then in between there's certain segments where artists get to fucking like, yo, let's take this event in your life and put a fucking production team behind it. You know what I'm talking about? And put a production team behind it. And it's like, this is fucking fascinating. Like that this is happening and unfolding the way it is. But you gotta have it all. You gotta have all the pieces. You gotta do the homework.
It's all material.
It's all content. It's all fucking content. And shout out to everybody. I hope everybody has some healing. I hope Chris got it off his chest. I hope Will Smith can accept the things that were said.
We haven't even explored even how it's affected his kids.
How it affected his kids, his family, on all the families tangentially. You know what I mean? Chris Rock talks about that too in the special. So go see the special. So Selective Outrage. He talks about that. You know what I mean? Like it affects other people and other people like that. So there are human beings that are like, yeah, they may be rich and famous and all that stuff, but like there's like, you know, there's real pain that's happening in these spaces as well. Even Marlon Wayans, I hope he has some healing. I've watched it and I'm listening to it and I'm like, yeah, you made a whole special out of it, but like there's some pain happening there. There's some things that need to be unfolded, and you know, and he's done that some in that special, and I'm you know, I mean, that's brave of him to do that on stage like that. You know, he gets vulnerable a little bit. So them's the vibes. That was the weekend. So 2 specials and an album to sandwich it all in. And for a little bit of a break, a little bit of a palate cleanser for all that, maybe take some time out to check out Musiq Soulchild. He put something together with Hit Boy. Hit Boy is just like, bro, this is his moment. This is his moment. He can't miss. He's the one that really like reinvigorated Nas for me. You know what I'm saying? Like Hit Boy is just like that's it. He just puts out hits, boy. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him with that. So he's teamed up with Musiq. The album is called Victims and Villains. Bro, it's like something about like we hear some songs, some music that come out these days, and some of these new artists, and it's like, oh man, they kind of give me a flavor of something that like, I can't quite put, but like I like it, you know. And then like I listen to music, and it's like, oh, they just doing what niggas like Musiq been doing. And then to like refresh it on a Hit Boy produced track. Too, you know what I mean? It's like, and he still brings his same vibe, but like his lyrics still kind of in tune with like the new wave, a
Yeah.
little bit, but like
Yeah.
you can still hear that particular way that he hits certain notes or pronounces
Yeah.
a particular word,
Yeah.
that's what they've been mimicking. You know what I mean? You might
Yeah.
hear a Frank Ocean and be like, yo, this is dope. And Frank Ocean is dope. I'll give you that. But like, if you go back to the music, it's like, oh yeah, that's what Frank Ocean got it from.
Yeah.
And even Frank Ocean might not know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, Soulchild, I mean, he's influenced the especially R&B and soul. Like, he's influenced that significantly. Like, he's one of the OGs in that
OGs
space.
for sure.
He's always been someone who's been very, very talented. I think always, not only obviously like vocally as far as the singing, but like just musically. He's one of those guys that I think that has been underrated, honestly, for a while. But Musiq Soulchild has influenced a lot of artists that you see nowadays, and he's another guy that's trying too, right? Because he's still incorporating kind of like the
incorporating new stuff. Yeah,
but you can still feel
he's still in the game doing his thing.
Still doing
putting out records.
Yeah. I mean, Musiq Soulchild is definitely like a legend in that space, in that R&B and soul space. Anyone that has, and like, I grew up on that as well. Like, not only hip hop, but I grew up on R&B and soul as well. So like, we've been hearing about Musiq Soulchild for a minute. And like, yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to be appreciated, man, with a guy like that. And,
I love seeing these older black artists putting out work. Jay-Z's with 444. I'm talking about good work.
It's a different generation of artists. Those artists that actually cared about quality music.
Yep.
That's the difference.
You got our Nas with Hit Boy, like I mentioned. You know what I mean? You got Musiq. You know what I'm saying? Freaking Big Boy put out albums like a lot later. You know what I'm saying? Like freaking Big Crit. Putting out music later in their careers. Twista. You know what I mean? Putting out new work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Busy is he might not have his own shit, but like I've heard him featured on new artists. You know what I mean? New albums with new artists and stuff. So like some of these old artists, black artists, being able to still put out work in their age of like, we can appreciate them as they age. You know what I mean? Like fine wine. Because these white artists like Rolling Stone,
I was literally gonna say that.
Journey, you know what I mean? They're like
Red Hot Chili Peppers. I was literally gonna say
But Chili Peppers putting out new music though. Chili Peppers put out new music. I'm talking about what I'm thinking right now is like these like but even then, but no, but that's fact though. Even with Chili Peppers, they're old and they're still making new music.
They still make
and they're making they're still on tour and they're still working. But whereas like a lot of these black artists, once they get a certain age, we kind of like do away with them.
Yeah, that's so crazy. You took that right out of my head. I was literally going to say that like I was literally going to say that like we should give like artists, especially black artists, even in spaces like R&B, hip hop, things like that, a bit more grace when it comes to longevity in the game. Because of the kind of grace that white folks give like rock and roll artists and these country music artists who be in the space 70, 80 years. People be touring at like 70.
But here's the point I was gonna make about that real quick is that they be touring off of their old shit.
Off the old, yep. Yeah.
And these niggas putting out new shit. That's
new
hitting.
Stuff. Yeah.
That's hitting. They could tour off their old shit too if they wanted to, but they still so like these other genres, they don't even gotta do no new work.
Yeah.
They don't have to like explore. They don't have to come out with better work and a new album. No, they just touring and living off of their old work.
Yeah. And any musician would tell you that, I mean, predominantly most of their money comes from like touring, things like that anyways. But like, yeah, I mean, the same grace should be applied to people who are like in the genre of soul, R&B, obviously gospel, contemporary Christian. They need to have that same kind of grace for sure, especially like as black artists. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. You're right. Like, but it is respectable to see that these OGs are even still producing new content. New content.
Who was it? Isley Brothers. Was it Isley Brothers? I think came out an album last year.
Wow.
I think it was Isley Brothers. Yo.
Wow. That's commendable.
I'm not even gonna check it. I'm gonna go with it. I'm pretty sure it was them. Somebody gonna have to fact check me. You have to come for me for that one. I'm pretty sure it was Isley Brothers.
I think Keith Sweat was still touring
last year.
Yeah, Keith Sweat I think was still touring last year.
Genuine on stages doing his Genuine dance. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I love that. I love that to like we allow them to like they could become old and like do their thing because like when white artists become old, they still get to freaking tour. They still get freaking. You know what I mean? I know this one dude that I listen to. on another podcast.
Mm.
He flies out of country to go see Rolling Stones today.
Oh wow,
He he's old.
wow.
He's old,
Yeah.
and the band is old.
Mm.
Right?
Oh, so it hit different with him then. Okay.
And
It hit different.
he flies out of country.
Yeah.
If they
Wow,
they
that's
play the
crazy.
same old songs,
That's
bruh.
crazy. That's
And he will
crazy.
see them at least like 6 or 7 times per year.
Wow.
Every year.
That's serious. That's hey. I can't say nothing about
First of
that.
all,
That guy,
yeah, I've
that
never
guy's
heard.
locked in.
First of all, if you look up Encyclopedia of White Privilege, you might find his picture. To be able to do that. But
Yeah.
the sentiment, all the same, being like, his artist got old, and that was cool. And then the artist is still able to sustain a living and sustain a life,
Yeah.
even off of their old shit. And at white culture, they do that, and they get to do that. And like, we need to really like our older artists as they're getting old. We can't be like, oh, they fall off, oh, they're not king no more, or they like, you know what I mean, they shit whack just because they're old. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, we can't be throwing away the vets in the game like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That's thing. I mean, and I think honestly, I think we could even go into a whole rabbit hole in regards to why that is. If I could say something immediately, I would say that just the standards are just different when it comes to Black culture, and the music with Black folks in general. Like we have a much higher standard as far as what we would classify as like timeless or quality music, good music. Yeah, like it's just our standards are just that high that it's like it's almost not even sustainable, or it's almost nearly impossible to like, oh, if a guy is 50, he can't pump out music that we will deem as like, oh, this is actually as fire as his old material. Like, because our standards, not only our standards are so high, they might even change and evolve just based on how a person ages. And based on like the climate of whatever, whatever.
But I think that's what's happening is what I think. But I think what is happening, maybe it's a sea change that that Nas's album did numbers. 444 did numbers, you know.
So you might have a point about.
So I'm like, maybe there's it's happening. It's times are changing that we're learning to appreciate them more. Like because some of the people. So here's the thing. I was thinking of when you mentioned that is, I think what happens, and I've been around enough white folks in my time to make this observation. It's not a study, it's anecdotal, but like they played the stuff that their parents played. And we're talking about people of my generation. I'm hanging out with them in their spaces and they're playing some music. If it's a party or a get or something, they're playing the stuff that their parents played.
Okay. I think Black folks do that sometimes too, though. With like,
so why isn't it carrying on then?
That's a good question. That's
my
question.
If our parents was like heavy on a particular type of music, let's say soul, or let's say funk maybe or something like that, and we played the music that we're used to hearing and like even play that to the point where we making our own, autonomous decision to play that music when we get older. Are we not carrying that forward like they're carrying that forward? Like how is it that we end up changing from generation to generation like that?
I mean, that's a fair question. That's a fair question.
So but you're saying that that's the case, that a lot of parents do that, but I'm thinking like they don't. I'm thinking that they don't. I'm thinking that the parents,
I guess,
are keeping up with I'm thinking Black parents or something, or maybe they're trying to keep up with the times. For anybody who to be the age of 40, I'm over the age of 40. I'm 40 and over, right? Well, you're younger than me, so like, I can't speak for your specific generation, but for you to be into Kodak Black, bro, you used to listen to Tupac.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't understand.
And you into Kodak Black?
Yeah, that's a whole different.
But you used to really be into Pac.
Yeah.
You really fucked with Method Man, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like 21 Savage is your new GOAT?
That's very strange. Yeah, you're right about that. even people in my class, I'm like, y'all really listening to, like, really? Yeah, no.
But they are into it. A lot of them are into it, and that's what they're listening to, and that's what the kids are into. So they just want to be into what the kids are into.
Yeah.
And so, like, if that's what they're doing, then like all the other stuff that could have been carried on is not getting passed on to the kids because they're doing what the kids doing. So the stuff that the country music they used to listen to, you know what I'm saying? The freaking jazz they used to listen to at their parents' house, they forgot about all that. They forget it as the day goes by.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I can't even
It's still some people out here carrying the torch. Like I said, like, you know, we got, like I said, I mentioned before, freaking the whole Griselda squad, you know what I mean, bringing back some, like, you know, bars and stuff like that. We got freaking Boogie with a Hoodie, you know, we got Jid, you know, we got a ton of artists that you know what I mean, that are actually putting out like quality stuff, you know what I mean? Even, you know what I mean, of course, and we got people that carried the torch like Wayne and stuff, and you know, but it's like when an older artist gets to a level where, like, hey, I'm older now, I see the world from a different perspective, like that, we got to support that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think for me, that's where it stopped. Was after Wayne, I was like, I can have the rest of that.
all that
because Wayne was like, although I grew up on like the latter half of Tupac's career, like I grew up on Wayne. Like that was my GOAT, right? As far as like rap, right? Like that's from start to he's still going, but like I grew up on Wayne for real. But after Wayne, everything else was just like,
you got all the Futures. Oh my god, like, I can't believe this guy is a star. Future. I don't think I've ever understood a single lyric.
That's what they like nowadays. Yeah. I mean, obviously I don't listen to that stuff now, but like, I do remember like when I was listening to Wayne heavy, like, and I started hearing some of that, like the remnants of that, like before the wave started coming up, and I was like, what is this guy saying? What is this? Like, it seems so foreign to me that like, I was just like, what is this? What is this nonsense? And then lo and behold, years later, this is what people like. So it's just, you're right. I mean, it's I don't know. It's like a new wave that seems to come about every.
Call me the old man on the porch. Get off my lawn. Fuck it. I had to be that. Yeah. But that shit be trash. That shit is not good. It's not music. It's megastars now. It's megastars, and it's a whole different category of what y'all might call music. But you know, it's almost like what they used to say. What they said about I think John Oliver said is like Arby's. Technically, it's food, right? So it's like some of these rappers and artists and technically it's music. That's how I feel about it. So all that just to promote Victims and Villains by Musiq Soulchild. So hopefully that's an endorsement. Hopefully you take it as an endorsement. Who even knows at this point? We need to get the fuck out of here. All right. So thanks for joining us again on that journey. It's been another challenging day. We did it. Mission accomplished. I've been your man's Darwin Darko. Follow me on the socials. You know, it'll all be up here. You can check it out.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm Jeff. Just Jeff, not Jeffrey. Like you just mentioned, you can find us on all of our socials at Another Challenge Day. So check us out, man. And I think that's about it. So
yeah, that's all I got.
I ain't got nothing more.
I see you this week.
Yes, sir. Stay dangerous, y'all.
It's Challenge Day.